friend and a colleague by the name of Pauline Englander and I decided to spend a few days in London before going to the Congress. And there, Rabbi Brickner of Cleveland and his wife, who also were going to the Congress, took us into their wings and took us with them on those 3 days sightseeing, and that was a nice way for a first visit to England. And then Pauline and I left for Lucerne for Shabbat before going to the Congress in Geneva. And it was just sightseeing. We stayed in a lovely pension. Came Shabbat morning, and we both decided that we wanted to find a shul and go for services. So we thought if we got there at 9 o'clock, that would be about the time it would start. And lo and behold, when we were almost there, we see that the Jews are flocking out of the synagogue. Services were over. They met from 8 until 9. There's no speech. There's just a service, and they were coming out. And Pauline and I decided, well, we had a couple of hours to spend before going to lunch at the pension. So we said, well, we'd go to an art institute if we could discover from the map where there was one. And we struggled with the map, and finally I said to Pauline, look, let's not struggle anymore, we're wasting time. The next person that comes along, we'll ask him where that museum is. So along comes a fellow, and I could see that English was not his tongue, so in the little German that I knew, I said to him, Bitte können Sie uns sagen, wo finden wir? And then I named the museum. And he went on to tell us at great length, with a lot of enthusiasm, gehen Sie rechts and gehen Sie links, and all the directions for getting there and everything. And all the while he was talking, I couldn't concentrate at all on what he was saying because I kept thinking, why does he look so familiar? And that voice that sounds so familiar, where do I know this from? When he finished giving us the direction, that he, just cordially said to us, sind Sie von America? And we said, ja. And he said, sind Sie von New York? Ja. And then he said, ich glaube, dass ich eine Bruder habe in New York. I believe that I might have a brother living in New York. And then it hit me. It just overwhelmed me. Because remember, I told you the other night about this work that I was doing.
Helping them get the jobs, right?
And Menke, I couldn't place him in a job, but he was the one that I married off just before I left on the trip. I said to this fellow, Ist Ihren Bruders Namen Menke Neufeld? He froze, and I couldn't talk, and I'm sure that there was a whole minute before either one of us thought out enough to focus on this great event that had taken place. He thought, as he told us, that his brother had come to the States with his fiance's family, but he had no idea where he was or anything more about him. And here I was able to tell him that I had just married off that brother in my apartment and had found him this job and gotten him on his way. Well, I don't have to tell you.
I'm just sitting here, tears in my eye.
It was just a memorable experience. And then he took Pauline and me to his uncle's house where he was going to go for Kiddush. And he ran from one to the other, what family members there still were, or relatives or close friends from that little town where they lived in Germany. And they all came running to the uncle's house, and they made Kiddush. Everybody cried, and we cried, and And as soon as Shabbat was over, we dispatched a cablegram to Menke to tell him about this. I have a picture of that somewhere around. I can't show it to you now, but
A picture
of Menke
and the
with Pauline and me, celebrating this.
oh, at the wedding, you mean?
No,
Menke with you?
Menke was the brother that we just ran. I don't mean Menke. I have a picture with the brother.
The brother and
Menke's
Pauline
brother
and
Pauline.
Lucerne.
Right. And I brought that back to the States with me. So that was really something. All right.